Hey, Poppulse Secrets Fam. We've got a swoon-worthy love story for you today. It starts with a simple whisper, turns into a dangerous lie, and ends with a truth that will leave you breathless. Let's jump in and tell us, what city are you watching from? Crystal chandeliers hanging high from the ceiling cast thousands of shimmering lights reflecting on champagne glasses and glittering evening gowns. The luxurious wedding hall at the five-star hotel was adorned with white roses and silver candles, every detail exuding overwhelming opulence. Elena Parker sat alone at a round table in the corner, trying to maintain a calm exterior, even as her palms grew damp with sweat. Her navy blue dress hugged her slim figure, but the high heels she wore made her steps feel awkward across the red-carpeted floor. She hardly knew anyone here besides her best friend, the bride, who was now busy holding the groom's hand and smiling radiantly under the photographer's flashing lights. "Alone, are you?" A woman's voice from the next table broke in, tinged with a half-smile. Elena gave a small nod, replying curtly. Yet, she could still feel the woman's scrutinizing gaze. Lavish weddings were always full of whispers. She came alone. No boyfriend. Looks a little out of place, doesn't she? Elena sighed softly and raised her glass to her lips, masking her discomfort behind a sip of wine. She glanced at her watch. Only 8 p.m. Far too early to leave without seeming rude. Just as Elena was about to rise and find a quiet spot to breathe, a tall figure appeared beside her table. He sat down with a decisive motion, as if this seat had always belonged to him. A perfectly tailored black suit, a silver silk tie catching the light, and sharp features paired with a cold, piercing gaze instantly drew the attention of those nearby. Elena blinked, caught off guard, when the man leaned closer, his deep voice brushing her ear. "Pretend you're with me." Elena froze. Her heart skipped a beat, half stunned, half intrigued. "Excuse me," she whispered back, leaning slightly away. Without looking at her, his eyes stayed fixed on a group of guests a few tables away. "They're gossiping. If you don't mind, let's pretend we came together." Elena let out a quiet laugh, both annoyed and amused by the absurdity. "And you think I'll just play the girlfriend of a complete stranger?" At last, he turned toward her. Steel gray eyes, cold yet glinting beneath their icy surface. He leaned down slightly, close enough for Elena to catch the refined scent of sandalwood rising from his collar. "Just pretend. Trust me, you'll avoid those unpleasant stares, and I'll dodge a meaningless setup. We both win." Elena bit her lip, hesitating. Honestly, he wasn't wrong. Already, the looks aimed her way had shifted from judgmental to curious. Oh, so the girl sitting alone actually has a date. Fine, her lips curved in a half-teasing, half-defiant smile. "But how far are you planning to take this act?" His brow arched, the corner of his mouth lifting faintly. "Leave that to me." Then he draped his arm casually over the back of her chair, a gesture so naturally intimated made nearby guests cover their mouths and giggle. Elena straightened instinctively, a silent alarm sounding in her head. Danger! This man is far too skilled at playing the part. "What's your name?" she asked softly, suspicion edging her tone. "Peter Blackwood." Elena stiffened. That name was hardly unfamiliar. Peter Blackwood, the youngest CEO in finance, infamous for his cold ruthlessness in the business world. Good grief, am I really pretending to be Peter Blackwood's girlfriend? She was about to react when he smoothly poured more wine into her glass. "Every inch the courteous gentleman." "Relax, Elena Parker." He spoke her full name, and her heart faltered. "You know me?" Peter shrugged. "I have a good memory for remarkable faces." His gaze locked with hers, so sharp Elena had to look away, her pulse racing. Whether from discomfort or something else, she wasn't sure. But deep down she knew the instant that man whispered, "Pretend you're with me," a story neither of them could foresee had already begun. Elena thought the little play at the wedding would end the moment fireworks lit up the sky. By morning, she'd be back to her usual world: laptop, deadlines, and thick stacks of financial reports. She was an investigative journalist, after all. But life, of course, never let her off that easily. 3 days later, just as Elena stepped out of the newsroom, a sleek black Bentley pulled up in front. The window rolled down, revealing a familiar cold face. "Don't tell me you're here to buy a newspaper," Elena quipped, clutching her bag. Peter glanced at his watch. "If you're not busy, we need 5 minutes." "Sounds like a political interview," Elena muttered, but she opened the car door and slid inside. The luxurious interior made her worn-out heels feel wildly out of place. He didn't waste time. "Do you remember what I said at the wedding?" Elena smirked. "Hard to forget." "I nearly choked from all that fake smiling." The corner of his mouth curved faintly. "Here's the thing. Both the media and shareholders are putting pressure on me. They think I'm unstable because I don't have a family yet. My stock doesn't rise or fall based on my private life, but the rumors are irritating." Elena crossed her arms. "So, you want me to keep pretending?" "Exactly." Peter met her gaze directly. "I need someone smart. Strong enough not to turn into a laughingstock before the press. And..." He paused for a beat. "I thought you played the role exceptionally well." Elena burst out laughing. "Well, that's a strange compliment. Instead of "you're beautiful," it's "you're a great actress." Both are true." His calm reply silenced her instantly. The air in the car grew taut. Elena knew she should refuse. She didn't have time to play anyone's fake girlfriend. But then a thought struck. If she agreed, she'd gain access to the upper echelons of society, right into the circle of figures tied to the financial scandal her newsroom was investigating. Specifically, BLC Holdings. This could be the very door she needed. Resting her chin in her hand, she feigned deliberation. "And how exactly do you plan to compensate me for this role?" "Respect, discretion, and a touch of convenience," Peter replied without hesitation. "And full access to my events." Elena Parker doesn't sell out cheap. She narrowed her eyes, teasing. "I want full rights to walk away anytime I find you unbearably boring." A soft laugh escaped him, rare and warm, like ice cracking under sunlight. "Deal. And I reserve the right to end the agreement if you turn into a PR disaster." "The only disaster here is your suit being too perfect," she retorted. She extended her hand. "Temporary deal." His hand closed firmly and warmly around hers. "Just pretend, Parker." "Yes, pretend," she emphasized the word, though deep down it felt like she had just stepped into a dangerous game. The very next day, their pretend relationship faced its first test. Peter took Elena to a charity gala at the art museum. "You sure about this?" Elena muttered as the car door opened. "These are brand new heels. I might trip on the red carpet." "If you fall, I'll catch you." Peter's tone was matter-of-fact. Inside the hall, all eyes turned to them at once. The murmurs rose. "Peter Blackwood has a girlfriend? Who is she?" "Act, Parker." Peter bent close to her ear, his warm voice brushing against her neck. "Pretend you adore me." "Your smile's much better than at the wedding," Elena whispered back, forcing a radiant grin. "You should try it too, instead of keeping that frozen mask on." He tilted his lips slightly. "Like this?" Elena caught the look, a genuine, soft smirk, and her heartbeat stumbled. Damn it. That half-smile is more dangerous than a forged financial report. Throughout the evening, they played their parts seamlessly. Peter held her hand while introducing her to business partners. But Elena had a mission. Whenever Peter was occupied, she drifted near other tables, eavesdropping. She heard two men whispering near the buffet. The funds from Cayman, did Richard sign off on them? Shoo. Not here. But yes, BLC Holdings is washing the money through the art auction. Elena's pulse spiked. BLC Holdings. That was Peter's subsidiary company. She was so distracted by the information that she didn't notice the edge of the carpet. Her heel caught. She stumbled forward, bracing for impact. Strong arms wrapped around her waist instantly, pulling her flush against a hard chest. I told you I'd catch you, Peter whispered, his face inches from hers. Camera flashes exploded around them. To the world, it looked like a passionate embrace. To Elena, it felt like the world stopped. She looked into his steel gray eyes and saw worry. You okay? He asked softly. Yes, she stammered, pulling back, her face burning. Later, they stood on the balcony for fresh air. Peter handed her a glass of water. You disappeared for a while back there, he noted, studying her face. Just needed to powder my nose, Elena lied smoothly. Elena, Peter stepped closer, his voice dropping. I don't usually trust people. But with you, it feels easy. I hope I'm not making a mistake. Elena felt a pang of guilt. He was opening up, and she was investigating him. You're not, she whispered, hoping it was true. A week later, Peter invited her to his penthouse after a dinner event. It wasn't for a show, he just didn't want the night to end. Peter sat at the grand piano. He began to play a melancholic, beautiful piece by Rachmaninoff. Elena stood by the window, mesmerized. The cold CEO looked so human, so vulnerable as his fingers moved across the keys. He finished the piece and looked at her. My mother used to play this, he said quietly. She died when I was 10. My father, he didn't like music. He wanted a soldier, not a son. He wanted perfection. Elena walked over to the piano. Is that why you're so cold to the world? To protect yourself? Peter looked up, his eyes locking with hers. Maybe. But lately, I don't feel the need to be cold anymore. He stood up, closing the distance between them. The air crackled with tension. This wasn't pretend. This was real. Elena, he murmured, reaching out to tuck a strand of hair behind her ear. Peter, we're just acting, she whispered weakly, though her heart pounded. Are we? He leaned down and kissed her. It wasn't a show for the cameras. It was slow, tender, and terrified. Elena melted into him, forgetting the investigation, forgetting the lies. For a moment, there was just Peter. But the next morning, reality came crashing down. Elena sat at her desk, sifting through the leaked documents her colleague had sent over. The Cayman files. She scrolled down the list of signatories for the illegal money laundering accounts. There, at the bottom of the BLC Holdings document, was a signature. Peter Blackwood. Elena gasped, covering her mouth. No way. Her heart twisted. The man who played the piano, the man who kissed her with such gentleness, he was a criminal. He was stealing millions. He used me, she whispered, tears stinging her eyes. He needed a fake girlfriend to distract the press while he moved the money. It was all a lie. Her phone buzzed. A text from Peter, dinner tonight? I have a surprise. Elena stared at the screen. She felt sick. She had to choose, justice or love. She wiped her tears. She was a journalist first. Peter smiled when Elena walked in. He was holding a small velvet box in his hand, the surprise. Elena, I'm glad you came. I wanted to. Stop it, Elena's voice was shaking. She threw the file onto his desk. Stop pretending, Peter. Peter frowned, the smile fading. What is this? Proof, Elena spat out. Proof that BLC Holdings is laundering money. Proof that you signed off on it. Peter opened the file. His eyes scanned the document. His face went deathly pale, then hard as stone. Where did you get this? Does it matter? I'm a journalist, Peter. Did you think I wouldn't find out? Is that why you hired me? To use me as a pretty shield? Elena, listen to me. Peter walked around the desk, reaching for her. I didn't sign this. That signature, it looks like mine, but I didn't do it. Don't lie to me, she screamed, backing away. It's right there. I trusted you. I actually fell for you, you idiot. Peter froze. You fell for me? Yes. And that's why this hurts so much. She grabbed her bag. I have to publish this, Peter. I can't bury the truth. If you publish that, Peter's voice dropped, turning icy cold, you destroy everything I built. You destroy me. Without even hearing my side? The evidence speaks for itself, Elena choked out. She turned and ran out of the office, leaving Peter standing alone in the silence, the velvet box still clutched in his hand. Elena didn't publish the article immediately. She sat in her car, crying, the laptop on the passenger seat. Her heart screamed that Peter was innocent, but her brain said he was guilty. Suddenly, a shadow loomed over her car window. Before she could react, the glass shattered. A heavy hand unlocked the door. Two men in masks dragged her out. Let me go, she screamed, kicking and fighting. Mr. Hale wants a word with the nosy reporter, one of the men growled. They shoved her into a van. As the door slammed shut, Elena's phone fell onto the pavement, the screen cracking. Elena woke up with a throbbing headache. She was in a warehouse. Standing in front of her was Richard Hale, the vice president of Blackwood Group. A man Peter trusted like a brother. Miss Parker, Richard smirked. You really are a nuisance. Digging into BLC Holdings? Bad idea. It was you, Elena realized, her eyes widening. You forged Peter's signature. Obviously, Richard laughed, lighting a cigarette. Peter is too moral. Too obsessed with his clean energy projects. I needed the Cayman money to cover my gambling debts. And framing Peter? That was just a bonus. Once he goes to jail, I take over the company. He'll stop you, Elena spat. He won't know, Richard pulled out a gun. Because you're going to disappear. And the story will be that the shame of the scandal made you run away. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed through the warehouse. The metal doors flew off their hinges. A black car screeched inside, drifting to a halt. Peter Blackwood stepped out. He wasn't wearing his suit jacket. His sleeves were rolled up, and he held a crowbar in his hand. His eyes were burning with a rage Elena had never seen. Let her go, Peter growled. Peter! Elena screamed. Richard aimed the gun at Elena. One step closer, Blackwood, and she dies. Peter froze. He dropped the crowbar. Don't hurt her, Richard. Take the company. Take the money. Just let her go. You really love her, don't you? Richard sneered. Pathetic. Richard cocked the gun. But in that split second of distraction, Elena kicked Richard's shin with all her might. He stumbled. Peter didn't waste a second. He lunged forward, tackling Richard to the ground. The gun slid across the floor. They fought brutal and fast. Peter unleashed all the anger he had held inside. He knocked Richard unconscious with a final, heavy punch. He scrambled over to Elena, untying the ropes with shaking hands. Elena! Elena, look at me! Are you hurt? She fell into his arms, sobbing. I'm sorry. Peter, I'm so sorry. It was Richard. He forged your signature. I know. Peter buried his face in her hair, holding her tight. I don't care about that. I only care that you're safe. God, I thought I lost you. Police sirens wailed in the distance. Peter pulled back, cupping her face. I saw your phone in the parking lot. I tracked the GPS. I drove like a madman. You saved me, she whispered. I promised, didn't I? He gave a weak, teary smile. I said if you fall, I'll catch you. Richard Hale was arrested. The evidence on his laptop cleared Peter's name completely. The scandal was over. In the hospital, Peter refused to leave Elena's side. So, Elena said, playing with the sheets. The contract is over, right? The scandal is cleared. Peter looked at her. His face was unreadable. Technically, yes. The terms have been met. Elena's heart sank. Oh. Okay. Well, it was a good performance. Elena, Peter sighed, reaching into his pocket. He pulled out the velvet box, the same one from his office. It wasn't a performance for me. Not for a long time. He opened the box. Inside was a simple, elegant diamond ring. I came to your apartment that night to ask you to make it real. I don't want a pretend girlfriend. I want a partner. I want the woman who challenges me, who investigates me, and who is brave enough to fight for the truth. Tears streamed down Elena's cheeks. You want to date a journalist who almost ruined your career? I want to date Elena Parker, Peter corrected. Will you pretend with me, forever? Elena laughed through her tears. No more pretending, Peter. This time, it's real. She kissed him, and the cold hospital room felt warmer than the grandest ballroom. And that, fam, is how a whispered lie became the greatest truth of their lives. Peter Blackwood found out that perfection isn't having a flawless reputation, it's having someone who loves you even when the world doubts you. And Elena learned that sometimes, the biggest scoop isn't a scandal, it's love. If this story found you outside Poppulse Secrets, welcome home. Comment below, have you ever pretended to be in a relationship to avoid an awkward situation? Did it work out like this? Let us know! Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more heart-stopping stories. Until next time, keep writing your own story. Peace!